Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tammy Eisenreich, and I'm a parent partner for the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And today we're going to be speaking to James Sharp. What's your title, James? Are you the executive director?
Training director, co-founder, and training director
for Healers for Heroes. And I did notice you had a bit of a name change. I don't know if you want to talk about how you got started and how the name came to be, or whatever you're comfortable sharing with, or if you just want to jump right in and introduce us to your friend there.
Yeah, this is one of my guys here. I call this guy Fuzzy Wuzzy. I give them all temporary names just so I can keep track of them. My name's James Sharp. Everyone calls me JD, James Dean. My mother named me after a guy who was killed in a fiery auto accident, but so JD. And 15 years ago, I was an arborist working in Hawaii, and I came in contact with a parasite called histoplasmosis, which caused me to go blind in my right eye, deaf in my right ear. My vision and hearing in the left side are sketchy at best. And I have short-term memory loss and lung issues. So at that time, I qualified for a seeing eye dog, a seeing eye visual impairment dog. And the dog was free. Everything else cost $18,000. And I just couldn't, I'm a tree trimmer. I couldn't do that. So a buddy gave me an Australian cattle dog, and I, with my ADHD personality, dove into dog training and learned everything I could. And I trained my guide dog to be my seeing eye dog. And he is amazing, smartest dog I've ever worked with. And so that's how I got started in dog training. And then someone seen my dog and what he could do. My dog surveys the environment. He knows my disability, and he makes an independent decision whether to proceed with confidence, caution, or comfort. Okay, so for instance, any drop-offs, he will lock down and not permit me to go any further. Any overhead signs or branches, he looks. If I'm going to hit my head, he stops me in my tracks. Doesn't let me go into dead ends. So I was blessed with that dog. And again, so I trained him. I've trained a couple other dogs at that time. This is 15 years ago. And that's how I got started in this business. One of my buddies, his son came back from the Gulf War, and he was one of the 22 veterans that committed suicide. So I started training dogs for veterans. And hi, guy. This is Tiny Dancer, I call her. So that's how I got started on the veteran dogs. In training dogs for veterans, I said, well, everyone, there's other people with disabilities other than just veterans. So we started training dogs for other disabilities, anxiety and things of that nature, and psychiatric disabilities. And I trained a dog for a mother with a child with autism. And that was an experience for me because working with the children of autism, I really got a glimpse at what these mothers go through. Many of them can't work. Many of them are forced to stay home and take care of these children on a moment by moment basis. And many of these mothers will do anything they can do to make their child's life just a little bit better. And many of these solutions, again, I'm not a psychologist. I know nothing, very little about autism other than what I researched. But the solutions are difficult to come by for many of these parents. And I believe that these dogs are a solution. I've seen these dogs stop meltdowns in process. I've seen these dogs, just the child with the tactile stimulation of the dog uh, is amazing. So that is how I got into training autism assistance dogs. And because many of these dogs end up going to school or college with these children, I wanted to create a non-shedding, hypoallergenic, very friendly, soft-mouthed dog that would not be a problem. Healers, Australian cattle dogs, are very vigilant, very smart, and easy to train, but they are a little snippy. And uh, you couldn't have a child in the classroom environment with a dog that could be possibly snippy. So I created, this is my actual own breed here. I call them golden healer doodles. It's a golden doodle with a little bit of Australian cattle dog in it. And uh, so that's how I have gotten into training dogs for children with autism. Now, so I'd like to talk just a little bit about what we do, how we do this program. This is an owner training program. So you get a puppy here in the next couple weeks, and I have a full training program and training cards that give you step-by-step instructions or assistance on how to train your dog. And also, I'm available via phone call or text or FaceTime at any time. I do hold training every week at the Lowe's store here locally.
Which location is
So,
that, James? Which Lowe's? Central Avenue
well,
or?
I do Airport Highway and Perrysburg. But that's kind of the beauty of Lowe's. I like to say that Lowe's provided me with 2,300 multi-million dollar training facilities across the United States, because even if you were in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, you could follow the same drills and the same training program at any Lowe's across the United States. If I have clients in the West End, I can always make arrangements to meet them out there. It's kind of a loose schedule. I do nothing but play with dogs all day, so I can make my schedule available to those parents that maybe work two jobs or maybe, have other scheduling priorities. So that's kind of how I do it. It's very informal as far as that goes, but I'm always at Lowe's with a dog. So I can always make myself available. Now, so it's an assisted owner training program. And I'm also doing a video series from that will be available on YouTube. It's a little harder than it sounds, but I'm learning. A blind guy in the camera is probably not the best way to do this, but I am doing a full video series from start to finish, and that's going to be available as well. Now, for children with autism, some of the things, autism, again, I know very little about autism, okay, other than the couple dozen children I've worked with. It is a wide-ranging disability. You have nonverbal, you have runners, you have children who melt down in different situations and things like that. So the very first thing I train an autism assistant dog to do is to track the child. Now, this is not a police type tracking. The dog is only going to track the child up to a mile. It would be excellent in a situation like a carnival or a supermarket where the child gets away from mom and the dog is trained to track and find that child. We also use air tags on the child and the dog. So that's the very first thing I train the dog to do. The other thing I train the dog, for instance, Sky, who is an autism assistance dog, is trained to not leave the backyard. I've had children who, believe me, no matter what kind of gate or lock you have, the child will defeat it and get out of the yard at some point. And it's usually when mom is having a glass of lemonade or walks into the house to check something or something, bam, the kid is gone. And so I train the dog to either stay with the child or track the child. So in that situation, you tell Tiny Dancer here, go find Billy, and Tiny Dancer will find Billy if he's in the neighborhood. So that's very, Sky. So Sky is trained to not leave the backyard. The only time she will leave the backyard is if she's vested and leashed and ready to go on an excursion with the child. So that is how it's helpful for children that have have a tendency to run off and disappear. Another thing I train the dogs to do is for speech and reading difficulties. I've learned even nonverbal children usually, and again, I know nothing about nonverbal children with autism other than what I've worked with. But if they go from nonverbal to verbal, it's usually in very short one-word sentences, what very, very simple things they start to say. So that is where having the child assist in the actual training of the dog, where simple commands to sit and come with, and come and things of that, it motivates the child to express that verbally, and it is very simple for the child to start learning speech. I hope that makes sense. The other thing I do for reading assistance, many children will not read a book to another child or an adult, but they will read a book to a dog. So what I do is I take a little child's book and I put a treat in every other page, and the dog will sit down and zero in on the book. The child thinks the dog is reading the book with him. Okay. What the dog is really doing is waiting for the next page where a treat is coming. But it's just that little extra connection that can be used in helping a child to read. I also use a hot dog like a felt tip marker, and I'll rub the hot dog on the pages of the book, which makes the dog very interested in the book you're reading. I'm going to suggest that you don't read a book about squirrels or cows or something prey drive like that. So that's how these dogs are used in reading assistance with these guys. One of the most beneficial things I've seen is tethering. It's called tethering anchoring. And what we do is at a young age, we tether the dog to the child. It makes the dog a Velcro dog. So wherever the child goes, the dog is going to be at its feet. Okay. And then we instill commands in the dog, such as sit and stay and things like that, that override that desire to be with the child. So how we use that is, if you take a 7-year-old boy with autism in a grocery store, we tether the child to the dog, and mom may be price comparison ketchups and her attention's diverted. She simply tells the dog to anchor. The dog anchors on the ground. The child is tethered to the dog, and it allows mom a little bit of freedom to shop and fill her cart and move forward. Also, the dog moves forward very slowly through the store. They have vests. It's a little tiny service dog vest. Is that just the cutest thing ever? But we have vests for these guys, and the child can hold the handle of the dog as mom moves through the store. The dog listens to mom's commands and helps to move the child through the store. Again, I haven't shopped with it. Well, other than training. I haven't shopped with a child with autism, but I can only imagine that just when her attention is diverted and looking at something is when the child is going to run off or knock over a display or something else. So you just simply tell the dog anchor, and the dog anchors, and the child is limited to where he can go. So hopefully that all makes sense to you. Again, sorry. The
Well, maybe before you show us some of the lovely little demonstrations with them, can you tell my families that are on, how do they get connected to you to get in the process of possibly getting paired with one of your lovely
yes,
super puppies? And what
yes.
is their responsibility? Like, kind of give them a checklist. What are you expecting on their side, and what can they expect from you to make this a good match?
Well, first off, I guarantee my dogs for life. So if for any reason it doesn't work out, um, the dog has to come back to me. Uh, um, to apply, it's very simple. Go to healersforheroes.org, the website, and just send a contact. Or you can call me, my phone number, my direct.
Yep, I changed it so they can see your website, so we know what you're talking about.
There you go. Okay. My direct phone number's on that website. Look, I'm a classified ads telephone type guy. Call or text me anytime. And you can apply for one of these dogs. So that's the application process. I do go through some preliminary questioning, such as your home. It doesn't matter if you live in an apartment or you have a fenced in yard. We can work with all of that stuff. But there is a commitment. There is a commitment to training this dog for about a year. And I will walk with you every step of the way, night or day. You can call my phone. If it's 2 a.m. in the morning, call my phone. I will answer, and I will work with you to make these dogs successful. So your commitment is understanding that you are going to go through just a little bit of adversity through this training process at 6 months. At 6 months of age, it gets much, much easier. And so I hope that covers that. There is a lot of information about the autism assistance dog on the website. These guys, go ahead.
About the pricing. You have a puppy pricing scale on here.
I support this. We've been a nonprofit since 2016, and we tried obtaining funding and things of that nature. After being a self-employed contractor for 37 years, I just don't want to do business. This is not a business for me. I support this whole program through my blind guy Social Security disability. I would love donations. If you need one of these dogs and you want to donate a couple $100, we can do that. But I do not let price or money stand in the way of these children getting these dogs. This is not a money thing for me. I don't get paid to do this. I pay to do this. So that's kind of the whole. This is not a money thing. So the prices on the website, disregard those. I'm going to make changes to that. Again, dogs are not cheap. I have a bunch of dogs. They require veterinary costs and food and care and everything else, but it's not a money thing. So there is, again, if you're in the position, if you're a parent and you're in the position to donate for one of these dogs, fine. If you're not, I'll work with you. So, does that cover that?
I think so. There was a question, Brandy asked, what is the initial time per week needed to train? I gotta know
What
if
is that
they're,
time?
what's the initial time? Like these little guys are 8 weeks old, right?
Yeah, they're 8 weeks old. Well, yeah, they're 8 weeks old. And I like to pair them right here. Training really starts at about 11 weeks. So when they go home, they're going to get used to. They are on a schedule. These puppies sleep in a crate every night, and they're on a strict puppy schedule, which I provide with my training cards. From 1 to 4 every day, these dogs take a nap, which reduce in a crate, which reduces separation anxiety, etc. For training requirements, if you and your child spend 15 minutes a day, twice a day with these dogs, that's the training requirement. The other thing is that we will vest the dog, and in the state of Ohio, any service dog in training has full rights and public access as a fully blown service dog. So I do ask that whenever you go somewhere, you take the dog with you when it's possible, because that is always a training opportunity, if that makes sense. And you're going to be taking this dog everywhere you go if possible. And maybe some of these parents don't want a full blown service dog that's going to accompany their child to school and things like that, in college or what have you. Um, uh, that is fine too. Maybe they just need a therapy dog, an emotional support dog for a child in a home environment. That's fine too. Again, the thing is connecting these dogs with these special need children for me. So,
Do you have a geographic area? Like how far would you be willing to have a family from Cleveland reach out to
sure,
you or?
yeah, absolutely. I have dogs. My little program here. Let's grab another one. Oh, this is Fuzzy. Oh, this is White Face. Very smart dog. Uh, so I have clients literally from Hawaii to New York. Dozens and dozens of clients I've worked with, and we've done this process long distance. Uh, so it is helpful if you're in the Toledo area that you can meet for training once a month if possible. It helps with dog socialization, and I see a lot of things they may not see. I can train a dog to do anything, and so that is helpful if you are in this area. If you're not, you can do this in Cleveland or wherever. Um, so
What about the age of the child? How young would you?
I from 7 years old on, although uh again, if you have a 5-year-old child that's struggling, and you are willing to, these, I supervise these dogs all day long. If you can't supervise, like the child, if you can't supervise a dog, it's got to go in a crate until you can supervise that time with the child. Um, so I really prefer anywhere from 7 years old up, but again, I'm not excluding. I have paired dogs with 5-year olds, but there's a lot of parent supervision and intervention in that process. Um, so that's the age range. Let me say also that these dogs, the breed here is, these are very, they're, there's not going to be any health problems with these dogs. Uh, there is no hip dysplasia. There is no skin issues. There's no health issues. This dog, after you spend this little bit of time training this dog, is again going to be able to assist this child for the next 10 years. My seeing eye dog has been with me for going on 14 years now. He's done 37 commercial airline flights, 5 trips to Hawaii. We've done a tram in New Mexico. We've camped in the Rocky Mountains. And so this is a long-term solution.
What about the age cap? Like, let's say I have a lovely parent on here that has like a 24, 25-year-old with autism. Would you
Well,
be
see
willing to?
that, of course, and that is the one thing I've learned about autism that I didn't know before I started this is autism doesn't go away. You know, it doesn't end when the child reaches puberty or turns 18 and goes to school. Autism stays with this child throughout the remainder of its life. So, absolutely. Yep.
What about a household that maybe has two children with autism? Is it difficult to train one dog if you have two in the house?
No, that is one of the things with my program is I will specifically tailor a dog and a program to your needs. Many people, let me say this as well. Many of these organizations that provide service dogs won't allow you to have another pet in the home. So if you have another dog or a cat or something like that, it's got to go or you will not get a dog. I don't do that. I address the situation as it is and tailor this to fit this situation. That being said, you know, if you have a a dog, and also I will say this: I do rehab shelter dogs. If you have your own dog that maybe you have a dog that the child is bonded with, I will work with that dog in that situation. We just go back to the beginning, and I will train and work with you and certify that dog for you. If you have a cat in the home, we deal with the situation at hand. You know, you don't want to tell a child with a disability that he's got to lose his cat to get a dog. That's not going to work. So we just work with it. Now there are some situations that maybe don't work. I don't want to say that's that there are some situations that just do not work. Uh, but yep. So
Are they, what do you call it, potty trained by the time they are matched with your family? Like, do you take
so
care of that?
uh no puppy is truly potty trained till he's 6 months old. These guys all sleep in a crate at night and they come out. I have them on a strict feeding and watering schedule. These guys all sleep in a crate at night. They don't potty in the crate. At the crack of dawn, they go out and they potty in the wood chips. I train the dogs to potty in wood chips. So I tell some of these new puppy parents, go to Lowe's, buy a bag of natural wood chips and put it in an area in your yard. And it may take a few days for the dog to get used to pottying in that area. At the end of the day, the wood chips is going to be the potty area for the dog. Again, no pup, because they're little organs or their little bladders the size of a quarter right now, you are going to have some accidents in the house. Um, it's just inevitable. But I have ways of dealing with that. For instance, if a dog potties on the carpet, I recommend that my clients use laundry detergent to clean that up. The reason is laundry detergent is on our clothing. It's dogs are nose oriented. So if you clean that area up with, say, disinfectant, different from laundry detergent, the dog may smell that and remark that area. Dogs do not pee on humans. They associate that laundry detergent smell with the carpet, and does that make sense?
Yep.
So I have all kinds of little tricks and things that will aid you in your puppy training. At 9 weeks of age, they come crate trained and potty trained to go outside and go potty. But if you're not paying attention, if you're not supervising the dog, you may have a mishap or an accident in the kitchen, in the living room, what have you.
One of our parents has a 15-year-old with traumatic brain injury and was curious if these dogs would work with that as well. You
Yes,
talk autism, but would that be something?
Yes, depending on the situation. I do train dogs for traumatic brain injury. I've worked with many veterans with traumatic brain injury, so I understand that. I have my own little traumatic brain injury going on here, so yes. And again, we can train a dog to mitigate. What you're doing is you're training a dog to mitigate the child's disability. For instance, Lightning and Sammy, my dog that saved the little boy's life, he is a medication reminder. So we train the dog to, some of these children don't like taking medicines. Why? I don't know. I love to swallow pills. Who wouldn't, right? But anyways, some of these children struggle with that. And so Lightning and a structured time every day gets Sammy and reminds him to take his medication. And not only does Lightning remind him to take his medication and motivate him to take his medication, Lightning will actually check and make sure that Sammy has 3 pills in his hand, which is just truly amazing. And again, come on, Joey, take your medication. I don't want to take the, okay. There's a motivational factor. You make a game out of it with the puppy and the child, and it just mitigates that issue that many parents go through on a daily basis. Does that make sense? So 15-year-old with traumatic brain injury, yes, absolutely.
Did I miss any questions? I know I kind of scanned through them. Do you want to show us some of the
Yes.
training that you do?
Well,
or what would you like to show us? That's fine.
Well, I want to show you puppies. That's what I want to show. Because, yeah, rain days are about the worst days in the world for me. So all the big dogs are now on Healers for Heroes. Let me say this. At Healers for Heroes on Facebook, I just uploaded the YouTube link of these puppies and what I do on a daily basis with these puppies every day. Okay. On Facebook at Healers for Heroes on Facebook. At this stage, what I'm doing is again, holding and loving on and stroking and positive affirmations. I want to make these dogs very lap dogs. So here's one. So I'm going to show you puppies, but you can go, again, I am working on a better YouTube channel. This is all work in progress for me. But you can go to that Healers for Heroes. There's many, many videos of many, many dogs I've been working with. It's kind of my fun thing to do. I shoot music videos with these dogs. And
it is healersforheroes.org, correct? Because
yes,
okay.
Is the website. Healers for Heroes on Facebook would be the Facebook channel. Again, my vision, I'm only available to do about 15 minutes screen time before I start getting headaches and start seeing fireworks and things like that. So I apologize. I'm not technologically advanced like many 13-year-olds are. So I'm going to show you a couple of the puppies. Come on, guys. Here. So just to show you who's available, I have 12 puppies available right now. And, one thing I'd like to say is that many of these dog organizations, they may take 10 puppies and only 2 of them work for service dogs. I have a 95% success rate. 9 out of 10 dogs of my puppies become service dogs. And I believe it's because of this puppy time I spend with them. And I believe it's the owner training and the adapt, improvise, and overcome. If you have a problem, we will work through it. That's just the commitment on your end. You're going to go through some adversity with this. But again, you could call me night or day. I'll walk you through it. There's never been a dog that has let me down. This, I call this guy, this a little female. I have a lot of females. This little female, I call her Bacon Bits. This is the short coated version of these dogs, but this is hair. It's non-shedding hair. Uh, so I will say everyone loves a fluffy golden doodle. I do too. But if you let the dog get off in burrs or mud or something along those lines, and not everyone can pay grooming, every 4 to 6 months for a dog like that. So for a low maintenance dog, uh, this is what I recommend.
How
It's a
big do
short.
these, sorry, how
They
big would you say that they get?
they're going to get 50 pounds. They're going to top out at 50 pounds. And again, if you go to the video, especially that video of these guys, I do a whole size comparison of the dogs. I specifically made this breed to be 50 pounds, compact, strong, muscular, and available to go on Ubers, airplanes. As a guy who's traveled with the dog 37 times on the airplanes, 5 trips to Hawaii and back, I understand uh, uh, the size requirements. Trying to get 100-pound golden doodle or 100-pound lab on an airplane is difficult. So I want the dog compact, small. And that is another thing that we do locally with the training is we do train on all forms of public transportation. We all meet at a bus stop and take a bus. We go to Toledo Airport and we go through TSA security. I can show you how to take the dog through security. So if you ever have to fly with the dog and different things you can do. So we do all the public transportation. We meet at a restaurant. We all have lunch together with all the dogs at our feet. And I have some restaurants that cooperate with me. And so we do a lot of public access, public outings with these puppies. And again, training them at this very early age, what you train this dog to do now will be instilled in the dog the rest of its life. So that's why I highly recommend starting with a puppy. Um, did I cover that?
I think you did. Well, they're adorable. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this little video off. So if anyone has any face-to-face questions they'd like to, but this link of this video will be found on the lucasdd.org website under Finding Funds. You guys have a great day, and thanks again, James.